Jill Woods here from Crowd Connections, and I wanted to tell you about a recent experience I had of a remote and rural business. I was really fortunate over the New Year holiday to be able to go to Finland. Now, not everybody's ideal holiday. It was cold, it was snowy, there wasn't that much daylight, but I had an amazing time. It was fantastic. But while I was there, I had the opportunity to visit a small business, and I wanted to tell you a few things about that small business because there are things I think you could learn from them. The business I'm talking about is a business called Kota Husky. The clue is in the name. They're a husky safari company, and they're based right in the sort of the northern end of Finland in the Ristintyntiiri National Park. And so they're in the middle of nowhere. This has to be one of the most remote and rural businesses I've ever visited. I mean, they are literally in the middle of nowhere. You drive a reasonably long time out of the nearest town. We were staying just outside the town of Ruka, and it was an hour plus drive north from Ruka, but well worth the journey. Anyway, so Kota Husky, what can you learn from Kota Husky? Okay, so they're a very small husband and wife business. They've been running now since 2007, and they run husky safaris. So you arrive as a visitor and you get taken out on their husky sleds. You get given a sled and a team of 6 dogs, and you're given some instruction about how you steer and how you kind of get the dogs to go and get the dogs to stop and all that sort of stuff, and then you go and you head out for the day. A fantastic experience. So the 3 things that I think are important that they're doing incredibly well that other remote and rural businesses could potentially learn from. And the first thing is that they have created a great product. Now, I use the word product in inverted commas because they're not selling a widget, they're not selling a physical thing, they're selling an experience. But they've created this fantastic product, this fantastic experience. It's not sleek, it's not slick, it's not glitzy, it's not polished, but it is a fantastic experience. So the sleds are not high tech, they're not new, they're not the latest thing, but just the whole thing is really, really well done, and I'll kind of explain a bit more about what I mean by their great product. So you arrive at their house, which, as I say, is in the middle of nowhere, which is surrounded by all these pens and trailers, and it's like a real farmyard experience, you know, there's stuff everywhere. And you get taken into their home, which is warm and welcoming, and there's dogs all over the place. They're really, really friendly, and you kind of get a very personal interaction with Lowry, or we were with Lowry. He met us at the business, and so you get taken in. He gives you a bit of an introduction to the business, to the dogs, to sledding, and tells you a little bit about him and his wife and their backgrounds and how they came to be running this business. You then get taken through and you get shown where the dogs live, how they exercise them when they're not out running the sleds, and then you get taken out to the sleds, which are already set up, ready to go, so there's no hanging around, faffing around, it's all good and ready to go, and you get given your team of dogs and your sled, and away you go, and you set off on this trip. And they take you out into the most beautiful scenery, which obviously helps with packaging the product because, you know, the scenery is amazing. But, you know, the dogs are well behaved, they're calm, they're beautiful looking, they're really well kept. And all the way along the journey, they stop, they make sure you're okay, everything happy, you know, are you happy, any problems, are you getting cold, you know, all that sort of stuff. They really look after you. You go out, we went out for about, I think it was about 18 kilometres, which takes, you know, by the time you've got yourself to their house and sorted and onto the sled and away and up hills, down dales, round trees, all that kind of stuff, it takes quite a while. So you get about 18 kilometres out, you stop and you have lunch. Again, the lunch is really basic, you know, but it's cooked over an open fire. I'll post some pictures actually with this blog so you can see it's over an open fire. It's just really tasty, it's traditional. Marika, who is Lowry's wife, meets you there. She has cooked this meal, she serves the meal. You get a chance to sort of sit around and chat and ask lots of questions about the business, about the dogs, about him, and he's just really free with his information. Then you get back on the sleds and away you go again, and you get back. Now, we were there, it was obviously a New Year period, so there wasn't a great deal of daylight. So then, as it's starting to get dark, you put your head torch on, which then make sure you've got before you leave. You've got a head torch, you put a head torch on, and so you're sledding with these dogs in the dark, which is a fantastic experience. It's really, really exciting. But again, all the way back, they check you okay, but you do a lot of free running. They're not stop, start, stop, start. They make sure you're enjoying it, and if you're okay, then they just go. So you get back, are you okay? Let's spend some time, with the dogs. Let's take some photographs for you, all that kind of stuff. So the whole experience is just fantastic. And as I say, it's not polished, it's not sleek in any way. It is just a fantastic product that they're selling. It is amazing. So that's lesson number one, is they've created, very naturally, they've created this amazing product. Number two is they really give of themselves. Okay, you get to know Lowry, you get to know his wife, you get to know the dogs, come into their home, you sit in their kitchen before you set off. Now, I'm not advocating every business that's appropriate that you have people coming to your home, but the point I'm trying to make is they genuinely give of themselves. And they share their passion for what they do. They talk about their dogs with real care. They tell you about how they rotate the dogs. So every day they get a different dog in the house. They've got 60 dogs, and every day they bring a different dog into the house. And they've got pet dogs in the house as well. So the Huskies get brought into the house. They live in the house with them for a day. As he explains, because if they get sick, they have to be brought into the house, and they don't want it to be an alien environment, and all this, he really shares and really gives of himself. And I think that's really important. So you can see behind this business, and there are other Husky safari companies available that are very slick and very corporate, but this one isn't, and I think it's all the better for it. It's a much more personal experience, which is fantastic. So that's number two. They really give of themselves, and they share their passion for what they do with you, and they'll just answer any questions and really, really give you a good, warm feeling about the business that they're running, which is fantastic. And finally, they are using social media, okay? And I say using, I'm stressing the word using, because they haven't just banged up a Facebook page. If you post something on the Facebook page, they respond, they reply, thank you, that was great, lovely to have that feedback, well, thanks for sharing that photograph, all that kind of things, because people are going on and saying great things about them, because it's a great business and people are having a great experience. But they're actually using that social media. They're not using Twitter, they don't seem to be using YouTube. They have got a page on a TripAdvisor, but they've not yet started to interact with that. But they have got a Facebook page and they are using it. So they've not tried to touch every single social media outlet, because there is just him and his wife, and time is finite when you've got 60 dogs to look after. But they're using the social media they've chosen, they are using, and that is really, really important. So I hope you found that helpful, and lessons to learn from this, what is a very remote and very rural business. And I will post some pictures so you can have a look at of my experience at Kota Husky. If you want to check them out, it's Kota Husky. You can Google them. They've got a lovely website that you can look at in Finnish or in English, and as I say, they've got the Facebook page as well, so if you want to go onto their Facebook page and have a look at the amazing photos of the most gorgeous dogs. And if you're ever in Finland, and you're up in the north, I cannot recommend them highly enough. Look up Lowry and Kota Husky and go and have the most amazing day. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful from a marketing perspective, if not just hearing about my holiday in Finland. And any questions at all, stick them in the box below this video and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Once again, this is Jill from Crowd Connections, and thank you very much for your time.